universe that's been through more shit than he has.
It's like Chris,
We are live.
Leon, Ada, and Jill are like the four who've had all that crap happen to them
Poor
constantly.
Jill.
Oh, Resident Evil 9 stuff?
Yeah, I was just talking about how much I love how just like as you're playing Leon in the game, he's just done with everybody's shit.
Well, I mean, he was what? He was in his early 20s, mid 20s when it started. So he's like, it's been 30 goddamn years. Can we
30
not?
years 30 years since the Raccoon City incident in Resident Evil 2.
I mean, when you think about it, like, perfect example, Joel from The Last of Us. Even he gets to the point where he's like, it's been 20 years. I'm over this bullshit.
I'm so happy as well that franchise has started to lean heavily back into its horror roots instead of just being an action shooter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it certainly got the action elements, but the horror is what made Resident Evil so good in the first place.
Well, the cool thing is when you boot the game up the first time, when you go do a new game, it asks if you want to play classic mode to like the standardized version to where it's like built more for people nowadays, or if you want the classic version where you have to find ink ribbons to save.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, if I was playing the game off stream, I would do ink ribbons. But I don't want to have to prolong a stream because I can't find any ink ribbons.
Yeah.
It's nice that they give you that option though.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool though.
And then they have a easy mode for anybody who just wants to experience the story.
Which I am happy that a lot of single player games put in these days. Like I usually play on a medium to hard difficulty, but I have no problems with people that just like want to one-shot everything just so they can go through and experience the story itself. I think that's awesome that option is there for people. And it makes me so angry when people get angry about that option being there. It's like nobody's forcing you to use it. Just let people enjoy a game.
I actually, it doesn't matter what game I play. I actually do that for my first playthrough. If it's a story-driven game with some action, I'm fine with that. However, my first playthrough, because knowing me, I will always play multiple playthroughs. I will always do the story mode where I'm like, okay, focus on the story so I can enjoy it. And then when I play it second time around, catching all the things I missed and whatnot, now it's like, okay, cool. Now let's go into this normal mode and see what it's all about. But that's just me. I do enjoy when they have those modes because I'm like, oh, cool. Well, I can enjoy the story, see what's going on, and then go ham and have fun playing with it. So
yeah,
I enjoy it. But hi guys, I know, brand new game, so we're a little hyped on it, especially since we're fans. But yes, welcome back to an episode of Behold Lore. I am your hostess, Zoro from E3. I'm here with my lore masters, Rhojin and HBFox. We kind of admittedly forgot that today was the first.
Sorry, you started
What?
talking in the intro, and the bluey intro in the background started playing.
There's oh no, did my phone go off? I have noise canceling. Oh no. I didn't even hear it because I have noise canceling on. Oh no. Thankfully it's less than 5 seconds. We shouldn't get canceled. You're a mom when you've got bluey ringtones. My bad. I was like, what'd I say? Yes. Welcome. We forgot the first of the month this month was on a Sunday, so we were like, oh, it kind of crept up on us. We had a very long week, all of us, long couple months.
I was the opposite for a moment because I was panicking because there was a D&D game today, and I couldn't remember which one. And then I looked at the calendar. I'm like, oh, it's Sunday. I don't have to prep for anything.
You're like, I just get to chill. Pretty much, yes. But we do have an interesting topic today. We are going to be talking about DM prep and organizational tools. Two topics that we felt like we could kind of combine together. They do pretty much go hand in hand, as well as kind of a way to kind of talk to everyone about the subject matter. So first things first, we're just gonna dive straight into the DM prep part. Essentially, what we do, what any DM does, at least for our shows on here, what we do to prep, if any prep, and if we don't, how we go about it with the improv skills and whatnot, as Gilatam so elegantly put in one of her questions for Rhojin, she wants to know how your improv decisions, what your thoughts go into them when you are caught in those moments, because sometimes they feel pre-planned because you make them up so quick. Has that always been a thing? Do you have things that are like maybe half and half, some are improv on the spot, or maybe like a list you have on the side? What do you usually do when it comes to like coming up with items or just prep in general?
Everything improv that I do is made up on the spot. I don't have anything written off on the side or anything like that. Because if you guys know, and anybody who's watched the show or played games with me knows, I am an absolutely atrocious note taker. I will buy notebooks and I will fill out half a page on the first page and then never use it again. And then there have been times when I have done heavy prep and I forgot that I've done the prep. So I go into the game and just completely bullshit my way through everything, only to realize that I had the sheet later and we went in a complete opposite direction. It's like, well, can't turn the car around now. So it's pretty much, I just go with the flow of whatever the scene is and just build off of it as the game progresses. You know, I think this is like the only time that the idea of building the plane in midair actually works.
And it does come off very much like you definitely do take a moment to kind of sit and think, but again, your response is so quick when it comes to like not even just like items, when we create items or something like that, but very much like what is going on in the moment. But what's kind of brilliant about it is when you start to make connections. And I know you say you do stuff on the spot, but is that something that after you make that improv decision, do you then go back and go, oh, what can I do to squeeze this into the storyline, or just kind of still continue to roll with it until it just kind of coincidentally connects itself?
Funny enough, there are times that I will, like, because of an improv decision, will then begin to try to build it in some way to connect it back to the story. Mm-hmm. But there have been a lot of times where something came up that somebody did. I made a improv decision to be able to let the game continue, and it just somehow, in way, shape, or form, already connected itself to a portion of the plot that was already going on. So it was just a coincidence that just made the game a little more exciting.
That is true.
It's just like unconscious decisions, and it's just like, okay, I just meant this to be a one-off thing, but now, you know, it's going to tie into like the end of the game here.
And I think every once in a while, players do a good job of creating that connection for themselves, where you'll give them something that isn't necessarily connected to anything, but then they like Sherlock Holmes their way through a series of clues, connecting them themselves, and then they turn to you and go, "Is that right?" You're like, "Yeah,
it is now."
Yeah, totally.
I was just gonna ask too if like there's some moments where we'll just be theory crafting amongst ourselves, like, "Oh my god, what if it's this?" And you're like, "Oh shit, that's a good idea," and then just roll
I will
off of
say that has happened a lot, where I'll just be sitting there and it's like one of you says something and it's like an offhand joke, and I'm sitting here like, holy shit, that's metal as fuck, that's going in the game.
Can you actually give us one example if you can think of one?
Off the top of my head, there were a lot of them in campaign 2. Campaign 2 had a lot of things that you guys said or that you guys did that just instantly just spiraled into just shaping and solidifying the world. One of which was the whole ordeal with the armors and how the armor, like the Monster Hunter armors, and how they just came to be and how they began to progress. A lot of those, it's like I had the idea of like, yeah, you guys are going to find these armors and everything like that, but it like there was something that led down the line to, it's like, okay, well, now this is just a full-on faction. Like there are going to be paladins who are like now just wearing these armors that secret, unbeknownst to them, are cursed and, you know, were never meant to be used in the way that they were being used. But like a lot of like Ash's actions and a lot of the group's actions really helped develop and show how horrible those paladins were.
They were supposed to be for the good.
Funny enough, originally they were supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, I forgot like what you guys did, but I'm like, what if they're corrupted? What if like they have just, they've realized that these armors are horrendous, but they tend to try to spin it that they're doing it to the greater good. And then you got to the point to where you were all in Malorsic, and it was revealed that they didn't necessarily dispatch all the creatures they came across. They instead captured some of them and forced them into servitude to use as tools. Much as you saw when those creatures opened the portal to pull Kyo through, as Kyo was in the midst of glassing the desert at the moment. And I forget what his name was, the one paladin that you guys that Kyo had fun dismantling.
His name was Lunch.
Yeah, Sir Lunch. Sir Lunch is like, no, we can't have any of this. And then he made those creatures open the portal. They pulled Kyo through, and you know, Kyo was raging. And then he used the one spell I hate using on players, and I hate it as a mechanic for anything, because it takes away from like any sort of narrative, and that is calm emotions. Calm emotions in a sense can be used in a correct stance or in a way that can progress the story, but a lot of times when people use calm emotions, it just takes away from the narrative.
I think, at least off the top of my head, I could be misremembering, but I know a lot of players have rarely used that spell, and when we have, it's been more like, I feel like if it's been used more appropriately, like someone was having a panic attack and they couldn't console them, so it's like calm emotions to at least help them, instead of just like, nah, just calm your tits, you're being crazy, have a Snickers. Like,
yeah,
kind of.
and anytime we've used it in our games, as far as I can remember as well, it's been for instances like that, or like to calm a barbarian out of their rage if they were having an issue with it of some kind. We've never really used it in a detrimental way. Now, saying that, I am fully aware that in that instance with Kyo, I was upset about that for a while, but looking back on it now, I wouldn't change a thing about how that played out. The way that we treated it in that moment, and the way that we came back around to resolve that later in the story, I wouldn't change a single thing about the way that all played out.
Yeah, because Kyo was basically like, you don't tell me how to feel.
Yeah.
And got to have that moment later, so that was very good. Yeah, because kind of like what Rosa was saying, it's such a, which by the way, thank you, Rosa. Yeah, it is a very well-established world that having, because of that, and kind of world shaping for 10 years that we've been doing for these campaigns and whatnot, it does feel like it probably could come off a bit easier for you specifically, Rhojin, to kind of add some stuff that maybe was always there, but now you're like, you get to play with it, or maybe it's something we dabbled on, and you're like, ooh, this could be fun because it's already been established. Kind of like how you, a lot more recently within the last few years, have been starting to kind of cross the lore and connect stuff from different campaigns that makes all the players that have been here for a long time go like, oh, to have those moments. Like, perfect example with Rhojinquest, like what his significance has been in this world. Like when we found out he was from Kamiroska, we're like, oh man, that's crazy. He was there. And then later learning in a different campaign, oh shit, he's the one that dealt with Tyrus, and just all this different stuff that just kind of combined. That it just, when the lore's there, I feel like the improv makes it more fun and interesting to kind of just add that little gem.
I loved how when you guys met Rhojinquest, it's like, oh no, he's from Kamiroska. We got to kind of watch him, but he seems to be like just a kooky old man. And then as you guys later found out that what hand he had in creating Terrace, it was just, okay, we have to murder Grandpa. There was just like a huge turn. Unless you were Max, because Max has always wanted to kill Rhojinquest from the moment he met him.
I do have to say though, when it comes to Rhojinquest, I'm having a lot of fun playing the one person that's going, but wait, he has so much valuable information. We can't just get rid of it all.
Is it valuable though?
I mean, sure, he had to do horrible, horrible things to get that information, but those horrible things are already done. Isn't it a waste of the people he did them to now just get rid of that information? It's a whole moral dilemma that I'm having a lot of fun with in that campaign.
It's fun, but my historical brain, just as that example, my historical brain goes directly back to, like, I'm not going to get into it, but like World War II and the unethical, horrible things that happened there. And it's kind of like the whole, like, oh yeah, some of them got away with it, so now it's like old, whatever, doing their own thing. It's like, okay, yeah, valuable information, but that was some bad shit.
It was. And if we didn't make use of that information, our technology would be decades behind where it is now.
It's definitely a conundrum.
And now you guys get to plan to kill Rhojinquest at some point in time.
I mean, in and out of character, because we very much established, okay, yeah, he's an older elf. He's got to be powerful. So logically in game, we're like, yeah, we're not ready. We need to like plan this shit because he's probably gonna wipe us. He's gonna wipe us.
I will say right now, if you guys just decided to book it back to Valanche and try to take him on right now, he could pretty much one-shot the group in one turn.
Yeah. You're powerful.
I will say to you and to any of like the Monday crew that's watching, you need Batman prep time against this guy.
Yeah.
This is not somebody that you can just run in and fight, because he will mess you up.
Yeah.
Especially if you're on an area where he is familiar with and he has access to his toys.
Yeah, that's why we shouldn't pick a fight in his lab.
No, because the man has multiple levels in both wizard and artificer.
Yeah, and I think that's a good stance to take for any player that's planning on taking on somebody that is many hundreds of years old. Even if they seem just like the most innocuous random person, they've been alive for hundreds of years. Their level is higher than yours.
Case in point, Destiny Forge 2 with Ash's grandfather. It's like, yeah, was he locked away for a really long time? Yes, but he's still much older. Just because he was locked up doesn't mean he's level 5. Like, he's been around a few 100,000 years, maybe, who knows? And he's got a lot of power to back him up. So it's like, we're gonna need some time. we need to think about this. Which of course makes it more fun for the story to progress to see how we go about that as well. But kind of to shift a little bit, for Fox, I know with you have DM'd on our show before, and you are planning on running a full-fledged campaign for us in the future as well, when it's that time. I know you and I are very same. We like to do a lot of prep. But kind of the same thing for you. What do you do for your development to get into prep? And when you come across moments that are more improv, how do you adjust? Do you have stuff that's kind of pre-planned and then just insert them? Or do you just kind of go with the flow and see what can come out of your mind?
A little of both. When it came to Sonata 1, I vastly over-prepped, and although that was useful for establishing that region of the world, as far as the actual story went, like a good 60 to 70% of that prep never saw the light of day. So it was wasted time, and I learned a lot from that and applied it to future stories and campaigns like No Way Out. I did a lot of prep for that, but most of it was regional prep, not story prep. And eventually I learned to adapt a bit of I guess a good comparison to make would be like your rendering field of view in a video game. It's gonna render kind of like a conal shape in front of you, so that it's not having to render everything in full fidelity behind you that you're not looking at and taxing your system. And I kind of applied that to the way that I prepped, especially in No Way Out, was at the end of a session, I'd look at kind of what's in front of my players, what's the potential that they could come across. Let me at least create a skeleton of prep for those possibilities. And then I'll fill in the flesh of that as the players are moving forward. And that's the way I'm starting to approach the Sonata full campaign as well. Is now that I'm nearing the end of the actual continental prep for that area, I'm looking at the bare bones of the story that I want to start off with, and I'm actively preventing myself from developing too much detail, because I want the players to fill in those parts of the story. I want the players to determine where they're going, what they're doing, and why. I'll just put the options in front of them.
Yeah. I kind of envy what you guys are doing, because my first time DMing is, as a lot of you already know, is Mass Effect. Mass Effect is already an established lore world. So I had the challenge of, what can I bring that's new and exciting, that's still true to the lore, but something I can have fun with, that people won't be like, oh, well, in the game, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no, this is my own thing. I can do what I want. I felt like that was a challenge. So kind of similar to you, Fox, I started being very overly prepped, and then it got to the point to where it's not that it wasn't revealed or you guys went off the rails or anything like that. It just got to the point where I was like, no, I feel like if I'm going to prep, I should do it right before every episode, which seems to have been working for me, because it's like, okay, here's where they are. What are they maybe going to experience that I can at least be ready with, and then go from there if they decide to elaborate and whatnot. So kind of the same thing, build the skeleton and then see where you guys go with it. However, I do have to admit that Vera, your character Fox, likes to ask me a lot of technical military questions that I'm like, yeah, no, send a message and they'll call you back, because I'm like, shit, I need to look this up because I don't have anything. So I'm like, damn it.
Yeah, that that's totally my bad. That's half Vera and half just me, because I love the Mass Effect universe so much. It's like one of my favorite stories and worlds ever created. So I am neck deep in the lore of Mass Effect, and as we've progressed through the campaign, I've had to stop myself from just assuming that things work a certain way, because that's how I'm familiar with the lore. I've slowly started to try my best at transitioning to, instead of going, okay, well, it works this way, so I'm going to do this, instead going, okay, I'm familiar with it working this way. How does it work in your world? And it's become easier as Vera has become less military oriented, thanks to these scoundrels that she's running with. So that's nice. But yeah, in like the first half of the Mass Effect campaign, 100% that was just me going way overboard with the details and the lore of Mass Effect.
which I appreciated, but it was definitely like I didn't have that information ready, so I was like,
Thankfully, in a universe with long distance communication, you do have that out of, okay, we'll send a message and then you have to wait for them to respond, because it's not a magical message. They might not be at their Omni tool at the moment. You gotta wait.
Yeah, it's actually, so now it's kind of become 50-50, where now I have prepped in case you do ask questions like that. But it's funny because a lot of you guys, which is so weird because how many years and campaigns we have all played together, I have so many different like avenues just pre-prepped just in case, but you guys are so focused on the task at hand, which I love, don't get me wrong, but now I'm like, shit. I was like, I had this stuff, so then I leave stuff like, oh, they can find it along the way. And kind of like what I teased in I don't think you were for the second to last episode, but I teased where I'm just like, do you know how much loot I've left for you guys? But you guys won't explore. You just focus on the path. Like like the abandoned lab. There were so many rooms you guys could have explored and find stuff, and you guys were like, no. And I'm like, damn it.
Yeah, there's something about the Mass Effect crew. They're a very task-oriented group.
Yeah, which I love.
Which is surprising. Given the effect that when we're on the ship, like you can just see like the ADHD running overdrive. But the moment you put us down in an area to execute a mission, we're just laser focused. We get the job done and we leave. We don't steal anything. We don't loot anything. We might pick up like a couple weapons off of a body, but it's like we don't go full loot goblin anywhere.
Which is crazy, because you're right. Like on a mission, you guys are like the best team. Like, yes, there's chaos moments, but you guys are like so good. And then the second you guys are on downtime, chaos. It's so funny.
That's okay though, because with the recent events and the conversations that Vera has had recently, there's going to be a slight personality shift with her. So expect possibly a little bit more chaos and deviation in the coming episodes.
I'm okay with this. Because again, I have stuff kind of like, again, skeletal. Like, it's there. If you guys find it, great. If not, at least it's there and I can build off of it. But I am so OCD. I have to be organized. That's just how I am. But I have learned since the beginning of the campaign until now, like, to not be so overly prepared. Because then it's just, because I never want to force you guys to do anything. And that's the best part about improving, is letting you guys have the freedom and do stuff, but leave them there in case it is discovered. Now, when it comes to items, I cannot do what Rhojin does. I don't know why, my brain just doesn't work that way. Can I come up with stuff on the fly? Sure. If it comes to like items, I have to sit there and think. I can't come up with items on the fly. So that is the one thing I do have a preset list of just random, you guys roll for them kind of situation depending on what happens, to have something fun and exciting you guys can play with, because I can't think of a crazy item off the top of my head within a few short seconds. I need at least 5 to 10 minutes, and we don't have that time. So I'm like, nope, I need a list.
Yeah, I'm the same way, and I say it every time we're talking about this. That's something that I'm incredibly jealous about, that Rhojin's capable of, is coming up with these crazy awesome items on the spot. It's not something that I can do. Like going back to the Sonata 1 prep, it's a little embarrassing to admit this, but I had a list of every single item in every single house in that whole town. I prepped all of that beforehand.
Wow.
Because I did not trust that I could come up with it on the spot. In the future, that changed to more of like regional loot tables. Like, here's an approximation of the types of things they can find in this area and in that area and this area, which is a lot easier for me to process. But magical stuff, if I don't have at least like 50 to 60% of it created beforehand, I can't come up with it on the spot. I just can't.
Yeah, same. So kudos to you, Rhojin, to do that. You just need like just a few short seconds to be like, what can I come up with? Bam. And I'm like, I can't do that.
It's a side effect of having an extremely overreactive imagination.
It's fair. That's fair. How does that change for health potions given the group's tendency to hoard them? Well, is it the group that hoards them or just a select few?
Just one.
Just one. Just one.
It's
it's I will say it's probably a good thing that you're DMing the Mass Effect game, because if you were a player, nobody would get any metagel. Nobody would get any metagel at all.
I am still flabbergasted at the amount of health potions and stuff that Kylus has currently. Well, I'm walking around with no health potions, half charred, 30% HP. Like, well, I'll just have to wait until the rest because I don't have any way to heal myself. Meanwhile, clanking over beside me is somebody with a crate of health potions on their back.
Well, first of all, you have to ask. Second of all, it's my money. I do what I want with it.
You know that character doesn't ask for anything from anyone.
I know. It's seriously
you can't say that it's my money. I do what I want with it. When you go into a town and you buy the entire supply of health potions, or as much as you can from any local apothecary, zeroing out their inventory for the day or the week.
It seriously is a sickness. It goes back to just playing video games because I don't know what bosses I'm going to come up against. So I over prepare by every single town I go to. I'm like, give me all the health potions, give me all the items to make health potions. I did the same thing in Mass Effect, and all the metagel, like all this stuff, because I don't know what's to come, and I like to hoard so I am prepared. And sure enough, at least in the video games, when it comes to specifically the boss battles, that's when I'm like, oh shit, I'm taking all these hits, I need to pound all these healths and everything, and that's when they're valuable because I've got 99 in my box. So it just comes from gaming. It's just an old habit I had since I was a kid, just gaming. So it just bleeds into characters now. So yeah, I'm sorry. But yes, to shift a little bit now for how we organize. We did kind of dip a little bit at like how we organize and everything, but for you, Fox, specifically, Gillitam did ask that she is curious how you put all of our stuff together, and this isn't necessarily for the DM side necessarily, but how you organize for like our shows, whether it's the bot and the organization you do for that, and pulling the tools together. What kind of tools do you use and how to use those tools, just to keep everything straight and organized for our show and our channels.
So I try to keep it as basic as I possibly can. As far as like the show organization and well, it's the lore show, that piecing all the lore together. I pretty much just stick to Notepad and Google Docs for organizing that stuff. Notepad is for all my in the moment notes. I have a notepad that I use on my phone as well. It's just a free one off the App Store. I think it's called Fast Notepad, which is super basic, super stripped down, basically like the Windows Notepad of Android phones, because the built-in note system for all phones is garbage. So I use that, and I try to have as few distractions as possible while I'm typing stuff on it. That's for my base bare bones ideas, and then I transfer it all into Google Docs, which are separated by folders and categorized and stuff, and each kind of subject gets its own document within a folder, and then all of that gets transferred to something else that's in the works at the moment that is not public. So that's what I do for our lore, and a lot of that also, I will admit, relies heavily on me just remembering when things happened and where the note for that particular thing was written down. I don't know what it is about the lore of our world and when things have happened in the timeline of our games. I just have a really easy time remembering it. So I know if I'm writing a particular document that is related to something that happened 6.5 years ago, I go, oh yeah, I know when that happened. I can go back into Zale's notes from episode 18. Oh yeah, there it is. That's what I'm looking for. So that's just a memory thing that I wish I had a proper system for. Because the more things that I could have a proper system for, the better. I mean, I could die tomorrow. Then how are you guys going to get all the lore that I have hidden away in my notes, right?
Well, you do have, just to interrupt you for a moment, you do have, and I can't remember if we've ever mentioned it on our shows in the past, but I know we haven't revealed it yet. Some point in the future we will, maybe, but you do have an actual website that you created that shows the timelines, like the actual dates, that kind of what happened here. So everything is in complete chronological order. You have a list of all the maps and the lore behind them, and just details. Like, again, they're still somewhat bare boned. Like, you still have all the details, but some of the other stuff you want to add to them because you want to add more. It's still very organized, and it's still very impressive that you've got all of that. Because even when you kind of teased it to me in Rhojin, I was like, how the hell did you keep up with all this shit? Because I take really good notes too, but you immediately are like, to the lore sheet. And it's so crazy.
That
calendar and everything.
I think that is just a byproduct of being here from day one.
Fair.
Like campaign 2 was a very, very formative campaign for our world, because I think that's when we officially established that it was a perpetual world from campaign 1. You could look at campaign 1 and say that's the beginning because that's where the world started. But in my mind, I kind of view campaign 2 as the beginning, because it's where we decided, okay, this is a perpetual world. And being there, not just for the full duration of campaign 1, but also from episode 1 of campaign 2, all of those little tidbits that connected those two campaigns are just ingrained in my mind, because it was also kind of the beginning of my D&D experience, and everybody remembers the beginning of their D&D experience. And so kind of from that point, anytime some deity is mentioned, or some date is mentioned, or some distance between 2 points is mentioned, there's just a little trigger in my mind that goes, okay, write that down somewhere, because at some point it's going to be relevant. And
it has been the last few years too.
yeah. Sometimes that point doesn't arrive for 10 years. Sometimes it arrives, 10 days later.
Yeah.
And again, having that memory where it's just easy for me to recall our D&D stuff, it makes it a lot easier for me to put all this together into an organized thing, and to create a timeline out of this. And again, being present for all of these events makes it really easy for me to look at the notes for an event that has happened and go, okay, well, part of this doesn't really make sense. I know the events that happened before it. I know the events that happened after it. So let me just tweak the wording of this so it makes factual sense in the way things played out. And of course, having the trust of Rhojin to approach the story and tweak things so they're chronologically sound, having that trust from him as well is a big part of it. Because if I had to go to him or to you or to other people with every single point that I wrote down, I wouldn't have any of this lore written down, because that just delays so much. And having to do that back and forth on every sentence, basically, you're never going to be able to write anything if that's the case. Having the trust of the people around you and being present for these events is a huge part of it. But going back to the tools, I try to keep it as simple as possible. Notepad with no frills, no like word program or anything like that, just basic notepad. In Google Docs, I don't really use any formatting except for headers.
Okay,
I try
yeah.
to keep that as simple as possible,
That's helpful.
because the more you add to it, the more complicated it gets and the harder it becomes to find something.
Yeah.
So I just use basic notes until it comes time to put it all together.
I mean, sometimes it's the simple things. It doesn't have to necessarily be overly complicated. It's just what you remember and what you can put down, especially in the moment, and then organize from there. Because, yeah, this doesn't have to be this huge, crazy program.
Yeah,
So,
and there are a lot of really good tools out there for world building and keeping track of this type of lore. And for a lot of people, those tools work wonders. And that's awesome. But they don't work for me. They're just a distraction for me.
fair. Yeah.
And so I just keep it simple.
That's kind of what I started doing, at least over the last few years, because I know with some of us, even something as simple as writing a backstory, and we have to give it to Rhojin. Okay, well, he has 6 people he has to memorize. If we all write like 5 pages of backstory, it starts to get overwhelming. And though I will still have that stuff, it's more of like, okay, now I've learned to use the tool just the basic tools, like what you said, like the headers and whatnot, just so Rhojin can quickly just click real quick. Okay, what's an important person? Okay, what did they look like? Where are they from? Cool. Because that way he doesn't have to read the whole paragraphs. It's just quickly there, or at least highlight it. That way, if he looks in the story real quick, it's like, where's the name? Ah, there it is.
Yeah.
Done. So that
I
way it doesn't
thank
have to be
you
overly
for
complicated.
doing that. Thank you for doing that, because it's like, as much as I love you that you guys give your characters so much life in their backgrounds, I just need a bullet list of the important things that I can focus on page 1.
Yeah.
And then if I need to search for something to traumatize you later, I can go ahead and, read through everything again to make sure of it. Because
Yeah.
like having to try to memorize backgrounds of 6 characters across multiple shows that we play throughout the week is mentally draining.
Especially when you have
Like-
like 6 shows times
Yep.
6 characters.
So it's like it's like one thing I like, one example is Vigilant 6. I have all of your backgrounds always open on a page because we don't have any character sheets for it
Oh,
in
that's true.
Roll 20.
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
anything that I need to check, I just go to your guys' sheets and I look in there.
Yeah.
So
That's
I'm just
good, yeah.
I'm just happy that, and that, like, this is a good thing for anybody who's playing D&D. If your DM asks for a backstory, give a TLDR like bullet point list at the first page. That way, if they don't have the time to read through everything, or they're going to read it later, they at least have something that they could refer to while they're playing the game.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's something we did learn, because believe it or not, Destiny Forge Campaign 2 was my first D&D campaign ever. I played some games when I was younger, like when I was like in high school, whatnot. That was like Vampire the Masquerade, dabbled a little bit in Pathfinder, but D&D for the first time was when I played with you guys, and so of course did the whole like, here's 6 pages of a character. And then I learned very quickly after that one, I'm like, that's overwhelming. I should adjust. But it wasn't until I learned I could do a sidebar where I'm like, oh, he can just click on shit now and get there quickly instead of scrolling going, where the fuck is this shit?
Campaign 2 was a big introduction to different writing styles for everybody in regards to characters, because it's like Fox gave me like a detailed rundown of Zale, and then we had like short blurbs for other characters, and then it was like here's Ash's like backstory, and it was just like a whole lot of information there that I could just I exploited as much as I could. And then you had an instance where when Grave joined us with Tyrus, he just said fuck me up. It was just fuck me up, fam, do whatever you want. And it's like, okay, if that's how you want to do it, you are going to be the most traumatic sad boy in history.
I think I speak for all DMs though when I say, like, if you want to go the fuck me up fam, or I have amnesia, I don't know jack shit, like, it's all fun. Just a little blurb, just a sentence to let me know what's up. Sometimes helps.
Yep.
just a little bit.
It's
Because
okay if you don't remember your past, but at least tell me what you remember about yourself.
Yeah, there you go.
And
Yeah,
even
exactly.
even in that sense, make sure that you know your DM's DMing style beforehand, because if there's somebody like me who just will build off and off and off of improv, you may be in for an emotional spiral.
Emotional damage.
Because sometimes I just don't let my players have a rest. I mean, just look at Sunday. No, or not Sunday, but the Saturday game, the Saturday Weewall game. You guys
We're
have
all
not had a
here.
shopping episode. You have not had a beach episode.
No.
You've had maybe a night or two in an inn where nothing has happened.
You're this
the
close
rest-
to a spa episode.
And then the
Oh,
spa
I
was
had the
just,
popcorn
the spa was
ready.
destroyed.
Was ready for that RP romance moment potentially, and I was like, "Damn it, Rhojin! At least give them it." So,
Nope,
we have a lot of
eyeballs trying to
traveling.
escape down the drain.
We have a lot of traveling to do, so we'll try to squeeze in some
Yeah, you
some
RP
RP
do.
moments for that, because definitely needs to
RP
get
moments in
more.
the RP moments in the back of Regalia 1.
Oh God, we just have a sheet like, don't disturb us, we're having a moment.
Either that or Zen turns into a bird and carries Snake Chloe.
There you go. Like, we're gonna go talk. But yeah, okay, so we are actually going to take a short break. We are actually going to start getting back into our interview mode. And as we sort of mentioned in the previous episode, that until we can get everyone back in and organized, we're just going to kind of focus on one of the three of us in the meantime for the interview process. So tonight, when we come back from our break, we are going to be focusing on Rhojin. So if you guys have any questions to ask about his characters, past or present, we got Brockus and Gaius that are active right now. Or if you want to ask him more DM questions about characters, that can work too. But we are going to be focusing on him. So if you have any questions, go ahead and get them all geared up, as we will be back in probably about 5 minutes. So don't go anywhere. And we are back. Sorry about before. I thought we were doing so well. We were doing so well until I had to switch the BRB screen to thanks for watching. So thanks for pointing that out. Oh no, I think you're muted, Rhojin.
It's not one of our streams unless there's technical issues.
Yeah. Well, I was so confident and so happy with maybe having a tech-free stream. Nope.
Nope.
So welcome back, everyone, as we are now going to shift focus to Rhojin as we ask him some character-related questions. I do have a couple lined up, but first I would always like to send it over to HBFox if he has anything he would like to ask first.
I do. So, as we've talked about a number of times, we do have an upcoming Sonata campaign that's going to be a long form campaign in which, assuming nothing comes up that prevents you from being a part of it, you will be a player in it and have the opportunity, the rare opportunity, to be a player character instead of every other character. And you had floated a couple ideas of past characters to me, granted, no decision can really be made until I give you guys the setting and you really know what feels right for it. But I did want to ask what characters were you thinking of, and why are you going back to those characters? What about those characters interests you or excites you?
Yeah, because we talked about this a couple times. The two characters that have come up in my mind are Lexus and Toka. And mainly the reason I want to play them, the reason I want to play them is I didn't really get much of a chance to flush them out the first time that they made an appearance on the channel. Lexus was my not excuse curse, was my Cholt character who went through the ringer and went like eight different directions on the way that I thought he was going to go, because fuck Cholt. But like we ended that campaign prematurely. I don't even think we had gotten halfway through the Cholt story.
We had actually gotten right to the end.
Did we?
TPK. Yeah, that dungeon we were in, that was the final dungeon.
You guys died a lot at the end there. A lot.
But like I just wanted to like have a chance to maybe bring him back and to play him and to flesh him out the way that I saw him going in a campaign that isn't everything hates you and everything is dying. You're not allowed to have fun.
Play a character you really want to be passionate playing, but not have it suffer and go through the ringer like it did.
Exactly. And then my other character, Toka, which was like the character that came up right after the Cholt campaign when we started doing that pirate campaign that lasted like was 6 or 7 episodes,
something like that. Yeah.
And that was just because like that was when the Turtle race was like first like made, and I thought that it was a cool race and I wanted to play a Turtle Barbarian Ranger. I'm thinking that if I bring him into Sonata this time, I'm going full Ranger with him and I'm going to take him down the Monster Hunter path.
Oh,
because
I
saw
that's a good one.
Because when in campaign 3, when you guys were running with Ash's sons, one of them is a Monster Hunter, like a Monster Hunter Ranger, and I saw the list that they have, and one of the abilities is just a bonus action. It's a reactive ability that is a class counter spell.
Yeah.
So it's just like I might want to do Monster Hunter Ranger because like very few people have played Ranger on this channel, and it's usually just like Gloomstalker that gets pulled up. Because unfortunately, when 5th edition was designed, Beastmaster sucked.
Yeah, I think that's probably why we haven't seen too many Rangers, because like for the first half of 5e's lifespan, everybody shat on Ranger for a reason. It was a very good reason. It was just designed not very well in comparison to all the other classes. Now that has changed in the latter half of 5e's lifespan. They have made a lot of very good changes to it and released some really awesome subclasses for it. But I think a lot of us still have that default mindset of, oh, well, I'm not going to play Ranger because it's just not good. But now it is good.
My Daggerheart, I was like, I know it's a different system, but I was like, Ranger seems great in this one. I'm going to go here.
Yeah, like, because the running meme for the longest time with Ranger was, if you want to play Ranger, play a dex-based fighter with a bow.
Yeah.
But it's like those two characters are like the front runners for what I want to play. But I'm like thinking back to like what I have played in like the limited amount of times that I have been a player in this game. It's like I've been a cleric, I've been a barbarian, I've been a druid when I was playing Zara in No Way Out.
Oh, Zara.
I've never played like a just full-on caster. Like with Gaius, yeah, Gaius is a bard and now a warlock, but I haven't played just a full-on focused caster class before. And it's like, do I go that route? Do I just make somebody brand new and go like that? But then I had the idea of the gunslinger paladin that I had talked to you previously about, since
Right. Yes.
you know, casting smite on a bullet and then shooting somebody with it, you know, sounded badass. So just like the old western like
It's very
gunslinger,
Constantine.
like, yeah, it's like the old western gunslinger preacher
Less
going
bullets.
from
Bam!
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. No, I do have to
Well-
ask you, follow up on that actually. I know you and I talked about this briefly in the past, where because Toka was short-lived and you loved that character, Brockus was kind of like, not exactly like a reskin of him, but very much inspired, because you wanted him to be kind of like the dad of the group and everything. Would you, because of Brockus, would you change his character a little bit, or would you still want him to be somewhat of like the dad figure of the group?
Yeah, Brockus is pretty much space Toka. I mean, that's what we've said before, but Brockus has a more tender side to him than Toka does. While Toka calls people pup, Toka is like, you know, is protective of his group and everything. He's more of the, you know, you've got a fork in your hand, you know, I'm not going to stop you from sticking it in the electrical socket. You're going to learn. He's like a very, you know,
He's boomer
live
dad.
and learn. Yeah, he's very live and learn, you know, rub some salt on it, you know, type
Walk it off.
yeah, just a very like a very rough and grumble style of helping people out, but he's not really like the stereotypical dad that kind of like what Brockus is, where he's making food for the entire group, and you know, he's taking his kid out on the Citadel and, you know, giving her thousands of dollars to go blow on candy. You know, he is more of the, it's more of a pack mentality to him, to where this group is now mine. I am going to watch over them. I'm going to make sure that they are taken care of, but I am not going to stop them from doing stupid things, because they have to learn.
That's fair.
So he's less like the stereotypical dad, and the kind of 1,000-yard stare uncle.
Very fair. Fox, did you have another question?
I do, but it's on a different subject. So if you had anything that kind of tied in better to follow that up with, feel free.
Yeah, I do have a couple questions from Gilly. She gave me some questions before she had to bounce. She wants to know more info on Brockus's wife, and then she put in parentheses, ex-wife, dead wife. I don't remember.
Dead wife, very dead wife. Yeah, his wife was an Asari. It was an Asari commando.
Mm-hmm.
And when they had met, it was pretty. I'm not going to say they met at a conference, but they met while both of them were working.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, she had been technically kicked from the commandos for her, mainly because of her twin daughters that she had, because she had ended up pairing with another Asari, which was looked down upon, and she kind of was like, screw you guys, I'm gone, that thing. And she went out and became a mercenary herself. And the two of them they were first just partners. They were, you know, they just worked really well together. You know, they had each other's back. It was just everything that they did, every mission that they ran was just utter perfection. And that slowly started turning into them more bonding, and then them becoming romantically involved, and Brockus then just becoming the surrogate father for the three girls that she had at that time. And unfortunately, at one point in time, and this leads into why he hates Vorcha so much, is they were in a freighter that they had received distress call from. It was rumored that there was a big bounty on that freighter that they had been looking for quite some time. Turns out that they were set up, and they were set upon by a large group of Vorcha. And in the ensuing battle, she actually ended up getting pinned against the wall, and there was no way of getting her out without her dying to that. So instead of just leaving her to her fate with the Vorcha, Brockus killed her himself. Just put her out of her misery that way.
Zombie status.
It was just quick and painless. And then he blew up the freighter to make sure that none of the Vorcha were left either. And that's why he tends to get a little more brutal and a little more bloodthirsty anytime he sees a Vorcha, and why he doesn't really exercise any caution with them, and he doesn't really give them any mercy. As he may let somebody else walk, he will never let a Vorcha walk. He will always execute the Vorcha no matter what it is. As you saw early on in the campaign, when the interrogation, when
which I love,
the Vorcha got a lap full of shotgun.
Yeah.
See, that's something
great.
that Brockus and Vera can bond over, because she's that way with Batarians for a similar reason.
Yeah. Yeah, which of course, being the DM, I love that, especially with between Brockus and Vera, that controversy of well, don't just straight up murder the guy, but of course not knowing your backstory, and of course me over here with the popcorn going oh, they don't know, this is great, because I know how much that hurt you, and you're just well, I'm gonna get the information, and then I'm gonna kill a motherfucker. So essentially, so to follow up on that, she did have a follow-up question where she asked, how long ago did that happen, and did that moment shape Brockus? How did that shape Brockus to how he is today? You kind of elaborate a little bit.
Yeah, it was a couple hundred. It was about
160 or something.
100, 500. Yeah, it was because his daughters were already born. His three Asari daughters were already born, and they were kids when this happened, and all three of them are in their hundreds at this point in time. So it's been in human terminology, it's been quite some time that it's happened. But Brockus at that point in time had already been raising kids. He had already been, adopting kids that he had come across during his missions that were orphaned or that were stranded. And he's told the group before that he's had over 50 kids.
Yeah.
Some are still alive, some are not. But this was the one time that he had let himself be vulnerable, and he had taken a partner. And it's if anyone's noticed, anytime everybody goes out drinking or anything like that, Brockus stays behind. Brockus isn't really a social person. Brockus also has Mercy that he has to also look after. So he's very focused on making sure that his family is taken care of first and foremost. And he really doesn't put himself out there for any sort of entertainment like that.
Am I gonna have to put a romance option in to help him? I'm a sap for that, So
yes, I know.
You would say then he's definitely become more protective, at least for for his family and whatnot since then.
Anybody he considers family, much like he considers the crew pretty much a part of an extended family, he is overly protective of them, and he will go out of his way to make sure that they are taken care of.
Yeah. And actually, so Siva asked, did Brockus ever tell the group how he came to have Mercy? He actually did. He did tell them fairly early on, because people were confused. They were just you're calling her daughter, but clearly there's no family resemblance. He did talk about, for those who don't know, early on in the campaign, he did tell the story about how her colony was a human colony, was being destroyed. It was being attacked, and she was one of the survivors. I can't remember if she was like the sole survivor, but she was one of the survivors.
The way that he came across her was they were on a ship that was full of her colonists.
That's what it was. Yeah.
And it was taken over, and Brockus had gotten the distress call, and he went in and he did the Brockus thing. And he ended up coming across a small human toddler, not really a baby, but you know.
Yeah, she was like 4 or something.
Yeah, it's like 2, 3, 4 years old. You know, near another dead colonist. He was the only survivor, so he cut sort of like he did what Brockus does. He just took a stray in and just raised her as his own. And that's why the running gag is that Mercy is actually Commander Shepard.
I mean, the timeline falls
it
as far as
works.
her age
It
and
works.
everything. So
And that's why
I'm
if I ever go back to my Mass Effect playthrough, I'm playing as Mercy.
It works really well. So yeah, the crew knows, except obviously the 2 newest members.
Mm-hmm.
On the note of Brockus, while we're talking about him, he's shown himself to be a fairly open and accepting person of other races, with the exception of Vorcha, and has shown his care for the people he travels with as well, in an almost familial way. But did he have at any point any reservations or any unaired thoughts about traveling with both a Solarian and a Turian, the 2 races solely responsible for the near destruction of his own race? It's the genophage is not something we've talked about very much on the show, because it's a touchy subject for half the crew. So was there any thoughts or feelings? Yeah, was there any thoughts or feelings that Brockus had about that never came to light?
I think given in the time when everybody met Brockus, he had already been on his own and doing the bounty hunting business for hundreds of years. Like, so he's had time to come to terms with what happened in regards to the genophage. And he's raised Solarian children. He's raised Turian children, you know, along with like other Asari. The only like children like he is new to raising is Mercy, because Mercy's a human. But he's had enough experiences in his life to where it's like, yeah, these 2 individuals, their people, you know, work together and pretty much seemingly have doomed my species, but at the same time, neither of them pressed the button. Neither of them made anything in regards to it. So it's just like, you may look like the people who did something to me or did something to my people, but you aren't those people. And so he doesn't really hold that sort of grudge that other Krogans may hold. He knows that he's in a way come to terms with his own mortality. He knows that the phage isn't probably going to be cured in his timeline, or while he's still alive. So he's just doing what all Krogan do and making the best of their life as a bounty hunter or as a mercenary and whatnot. So he and Vera early on butted heads over a lot of things because just because of the way that they acted. But like the 2 of them have like gotten a lot closer and have like pretty much relied on one another more and more as the story has progressed. Even like in combat, they're always running like a point man style defense, as to where Brockus has the shield up and she's got the gun behind him. And I think it's like it's like really telling of how much he trusts a Turian to be behind him with an exposed back with a gun right next to him.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the character developments in just that story alone have been fantastic. They've all been great, especially like you said, you guys butted heads a lot, and it's been fun to watch. So it's like, ooh, what's gonna happen? Because I honestly thought while you guys were still on Mega, I'm just like, someone's gonna walk away or someone's gonna pull the trigger on each other. But that didn't happen. So it almost did.
It came close several times.
Yeah.
I'll admit, playing a military Turian at the beginning was difficult at times,
Yeah.
but we've really all come together.
Yeah. And again, like I mentioned earlier, I never want to force you guys or steer you guys on a forced path. I want you guys to shape it your own. So it's like, okay, if you're going to stay military, great, but here's some options. So when the whole Spectre thing came along and you were just like, oh, fuck the military, yes. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, this might go smoother now, actually.
I will say, like, one of like the shaping inspirations I had for Brockus, it's really dumb, but Dom Toretto from the Fast and Furious movies, how he's all like about family
I can see it.
and
Yeah.
everything like that. It's just like, okay,
What
yeah, well, we
family?
can put that in the family.
Yeah, I mean, now
like 'em too.
with that series, it's a meme, but I can
Yeah.
absolutely see that inspiration from that character from the first few movies.
Yes.
It definitely
Yes.
comes through.
I'm just waiting for, John Cena to make an appearance and he's somehow Brockus' brother.
Well, if he shows up, nobody's gonna be able to see him, right?
Yeah, he's got that cloak on, nobody can see him.
Yeah, because Brockus is one of the few, because they exist, they're out there, but there's very few of them where he's very similar to Rex, where he's not rage driven, he's not all about grudges, very much like level headed, like, yeah, maybe this shit sucks, but you know what? I'm not gonna keep banging my head against this wall. Let's do something about it, or let's just veer it to where I can get on with my life. And that's pretty much what Brockus has done, which is great. So, especially when you got a little human child with you guys.
That little human child has like taught him like human cuisine. And it's just like, that actually isn't bad.
All three of them.
Hot dogs, mac and cheese, and chocolate milk.
Because that's what a toddler knows. That's all a toddler knew. So, I mean, did some of her taste develop over time? A little bit, but that's all she knew as a toddler.
I have to say, if it wasn't for that little human child, I'm not sure if I would have been able to justify the gradual acceptance of humans that Vera has taken. Now, acceptance might be a strong word still, but tolerance, let's say. If it wasn't for having Mercy around and having her chip away at that barrier, I'm not sure Vera would have let any other human board the ship.
Now, not to say, because the war
She's not
going
gonna
to
pull a gun on them.
Yeah, well, depends on the human. But yeah, this has been a lot of fun for sure. One question that was asked, also by Gilly, what kind of thought and creation do you put into creating your character names? Like, what inspires you for your names? Is it different every time? Do you have a specific naming convention? How do you pick them?
Name generator.
Ah!
Like,
you cheater!
okay, for
No, it helps.
NPC
It helps.
names. For NPC names,
Yes.
I have a name generator up there sometimes. I'm
That's
just like,
fair.
as you guys are talking and you're meeting a new NPC, I'm just like elf or high elf male names, because I know somebody's gonna ask, what's their name? And it's like, you don't need to know their name. But that's everybody's favorite thing to throw the DM on the spot is to know what their name is. And I can't have eight Bob the elves in a town. So it's like, I will have a name generator on there. And it's just like, I'll just take names and I'll take a surname and it's like, yeah, there's this guy. But there are times when, like with Reventrix, that was just a name that I threw out there. And, Spiffy pointed out, it sounds like it belongs on a magic card. But with like my, like on my personal characters, it's just whatever I'm feeling at the time. There isn't really any sort of
Like any research or anything?
Any sort of like research to go with whatever class or whatever build I'm trying to build in. It's just whatever name I feel like it works with this guy. Aside from Toka, Toka's 110% inspired by Toka from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Secret of the Ooze.
Ah. I did not put that connection at first.
Yep.
Now that you say it out loud. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. There's just like, I was like, I'm just going to make him a giant alligator snapping turtle and just call him Toka. And there we go.
Which is still such a crazy design. I love it. What about Gaius? Like his name?
Gaius was inspired, of course, by Gaius from Withered Wastes. And
well, yes, but I mean like the name. Like how
Gaius
how'd you come up with
Baltar.
that one?
Gaius Baltar from Battlestar Galactica is where I got that name from.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm over here
Forgot that
thinking of
character
like,
even existed.
yeah, like I'm over here thinking of like, oh, Gaius is like, it's so diverse. Like it's dealt with like history. It's like a god at one point. It's a Roman Caesar at one point. It's like, oh, where'd he get? Oh,
Nope.
That's actually really cool.
World's best space president.
Never mind. That's actually really cool.
Yep, his name is 110% inspired by a character from Battlestar Galactica.
Gotcha.
Because like the first time I heard that name, I'm like, that's a cool name. And so it was like when I first designed the NPC Gaius that you had met in Withered Wastes, he was like, the name was inspired by like the character from Battlestar Galactica, but I wanted him to be just like the very like two-faced, double dealing style devil that everybody is familiar with. And one of the things he's always told people is, do not trust me. And it's like, I got that from Peter Baelish from Game of Thrones, where he's like, early in the season, he's like, I warned you never to trust me. So it's like, I will help you. I will give you what you want. I will tell you what you need, but never trust me.
Yep.
And when people are shocked that he betrays them, or if he turns something on them, or he uses something from them to give it to somebody else, it's like, in his mind, it's justification that he could do that because he's already told you he's going to double cross you.
Yeah, and with how he was in Withered Wastes, I have noticed there, at least I feel like there has been a shift in his personality, just a little bit, in Downfall of Propriety. Was that always his personality? Like, if that was like an early version of him, or did you feel like that shift to fit the setting?
This is Gaius. This is multiverse Gaius.
Oh,
this is multiverse Gaius. This is
Gaius.
Gaius.
Guy.
Gaius, if he actually had a conscience.
Oh yeah.
And he wasn't raised in the hells, and he was more in a like a stereotypical home in a civilized society, still high class and everything. Gaius in the Downfall of Propriety is more of a very like caring but rambunctious orange cat, as to where Gaius the NPC is just an outright bastard.
That's why I was wondering if this was like your version of how he was like in his earlier years, or if you did that on purpose. Okay.
No, this
what about his
this
brothers
is
then. Like, did those personality shift then?
No, his brothers in the Downfall of Propriety don't exist anywhere else. Like those, like the three brothers that he has are just three characters that I created for his backstory to flesh out his family in that itself. To where, you know, you've got Richter, who is just the firstborn, you know, the one that's being fleshed out to be the head of the family.
Right.
Upright asshole that he is. That's why every time any of the other brothers mentions his name, it's quickly followed by fuck Richter. Is because they all, like, while they love him, they know how much of a pain in the ass he is, so they just say that. And then, like, you've got the second born, who is Lionel, who is the priest. And then you have I forgot his name. I hate it because he's my favorite brother.
Because I know you had
Gaspard. Gaspard.
Barnaby? Barnabas? Because that was Gaius'
Close.
brother in
You're close.
Withered Ways.
Yeah.
What was it? Barnaby? Barnabas? Baracus?
Bernard.
Bernard.
No, Bernard makes no appearance in it because
I was gonna say because we haven't met him yet.
no, Gaspard is the captain in the military because his family, Gaius' family, is a naval family. They produce a ton of like naval ships and stuff like that. And he is like, him and Gaius look almost identical, but his brother is like 6.5 feet tall, bustling with muscle, just basically like romance novel open shirt sea captain style look. And you've got Gaius who's like 5 feet tall, flat. So it's just like you've got you know, Gaspard and Mini-Me. And like I based his family off of like the traditional style of things to where it's like the traditional old high society families where the firstborn was given the control of the family after the father died. The second brother was usually went into a clergy style position, or the military, and then the third brother filled the other spot. They either went to the military or they went into the clergy. And the fourth child and any other child afterwards, you weren't important. You were just you have the name, here's money, just don't embarrass the family.
And Gaius does.
Gaius doesn't embarrass his family. Gaius' family embarrasses
reputation.
themselves.
Now, did you also shift his personality? I know you said this is like a multiverse version of him, but I know Cass has teased like, oh, I want to romance him. Did you pre-plan that, or are you just kind of sort of shifting for it could or couldn't? You don't know, just kind of depends.
Funny enough, we've had discussions about it, but like Gaius and Maddie are not destined to be together. Like she is taking Maddie in a different direction. And it's because she was like, because early on in the campaign, she's like, I don't know. I think, you know, she would like try to, you know, flirt with Gaius or maybe start something up with Gaius. Yeah. And like, I told her, it's like, Gaius would ruin her. Gaius is not, you know, Maddie is far too innocent to be with somebody like Gaius.
With him at first.
Yeah. Gaius would ruin her because Gaius is not high society. Gaius is very, you know, man of the people style, and like that. And like, yes, as everybody keeps commenting, yes, he sleeps with people's moms. He's not on
Mom's
purpose.
Married young, so you know.
Yeah, not on purpose or anything like that. He just doesn't check credentials or, you know, family history before, you know, he hooks up with somebody. And, you know, lo and behold, a lot of people that have, you know, been with Gaius were just wives of other high society men. He doesn't seek them out. It just happens.
I love that. I always wonder that, so I'm glad I finally got to ask that. Because I always wondered if this was actually Gaius from Withered Ways, or if this was just entirely shifted differently. So
yeah, he is. he the only thing he shares with Gaius, or the only things that the two guys share, are one, they are Rakasha tieflings, and the name. That's it.
Okay.
Like, there are no other connecting factors between the two of them. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Anything else you would like to ask, Fox? We do have time for about 1 or 2 more questions.
I mean, I do have questions about Gaius, but I think they're things that are going to slowly be revealed before the end of the story, so I don't want to spoil anything.
I mean, you can ask him and I can tell you if I can't answer him.
I want to know if he has any plans for the printing business that he was essentially given, like any plans beyond producing his own books and such, because I can certainly tell you Arby's come up with a few things where a printing business would be real handy.
He has plans for it. and it's definitely something that he like keeps like passing through his mind, especially with what has happened recently and his now connection to a goddess that his brother worships. So it's like he is thinking of how he can use that printing company and to how he can better benefit the people of the city. One of the things I've told Malls is at the end of the campaign, I seriously think Gaius is going to step away from high society and he's going to make himself more of like a private investigator. He's going to make himself like a detective.
That's cool.
Like because of the pact that he has made with the goddess and everything. Now he is just like, I need to help people. I need to do more to help people. And as he's been going, as him and the group have been going through this like mystery, he's starting to realize, hey, we're pretty good at this. We're pretty good at putting the pieces together. So it's like, I can totally see him becoming just a private investigator to help the city. I would say becoming like Batman, but let's face it, he doesn't have the physical prowess to be Batman.
No, but he'll have some of the money anyway. So speaking of making the pact that he has, we've established that he in his past has never really been an overly religious person, but now that he has made this pact, is he starting to lean towards that in any way? Is he starting to think, well, maybe I should be devoting at least some of my time to this goddess?
He at this point in time isn't really sure how exactly he should be doing things. This is like brand new to him, and it's just like, okay, so now I'm a warlock. I'm not really sure what entails in that. Though I don't really see him ever setting foot in a house of worship. Not because, you know, of anything that he's previously held against and I hate that I'm forgetting her name.
The main lady?
No, the goddess.
Oh.
Lyridia.
Oh, shit, that was
Yeah, Lyridia.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's like it was like, it's like the name is on the tip of my tongue, but my brain can't formulate the words. But because even though he's formed a pact with Lyridia, and he now understands what she does and where she's coming from and why she doesn't fully get involved in the everyday life and death situations of the people, as just like, you're supposed to be like this all-powerful goddess. Why aren't you healing these people when you're supposed to be the goddess of life? And he finds out that she's the goddess of life and death. So she's just letting nature run its course. And while he has an understanding of that, he doesn't like the house of worship because of the mortal factor. And then once he starts hearing that there may be people in the church that are manipulating the plague or using it for like their own gain or whatnot, it's leaving an even more sour taste in his mouth. So while he still would, you know, work to fulfill his pact, he's never going to be somebody who drops on their knees and worships.
So is the pact something that, for those that don't know, this pact was made, like the majority of pacts, at a moment of great desperation, and kind of as a means to an end type of thing. So once this mystery is solved, once we've resolved the crisis that's in front of us, do you think he intends to maintain the pact, or do you think he is more likely to be like, I've accomplished what I needed to accomplish, I've done what you wanted me to do, let's end our relationship here type of thing with the pact?
I was gonna follow up
I don't
on that. Good call.
I don't think he at this moment has any plans to end the pact, because he did make the pact with her. He did make a pact that was in regards to save a friend. And yes, while it was made in desperation, he understood what he was getting into. And he feels that he can't, like, he's never been one to go back on his debts or never to pay off like a bet or anything like that. So the first person he doesn't want to cross with something like this is somebody who has the ability to just up and kill someone. Like he himself doesn't want to be Thanos snapped. And he has that thought of, what if I break this pact and then all of a sudden Angharad dies because of it? Like her life is just now forfeit because he went back on his word. So I don't really see him dropping the pact after like the mystery is solved. I think he's going to continue to use his warlock powers to, as he made the pact with Lyridia, to help the people of the city. And that's why I think he would go into like a private investigator style outlook, because he doesn't necessarily trust the wings. So
let's see where it takes him, and then kind of
see where he takes him. Be a third-party contractor to help solve crimes.
Yeah.
Fair. So if we do have time for one sneaky little question to get in here at the end, because this is something that Arby has been struggling with ethically and morally a lot, and I wanted to kind of get your perspective from Gaius's perspective on the matter as well. We have found the killer that we were looking for at the very start of this mystery. We found the murderer. We know who it is. We know where they are. We know why they did it. Granted, they did it in a moment of desperation, but at the end of the day, they still chose to do it. How does Gaius feel about the eyes protecting this person and hiding them away from the justice of the repercussions of what they did? Is this something that he has a problem with, or is he okay to let this person go because of the circumstances in which they murdered this man?
Even though that Gaius looked up to Lord Partington because of how he was very much focused on bettering the lives of all of the citizens of the city, Gaius doesn't really hold anything against him for murdering Lord Partington. He understands that what has happened was a grievous crime. It's unforgivable, yes, but at the same time, punishing him does not punish those who were involved. The people who put the knife in his hand, the people who made him those empty promises out of desperation to save his brother who was afflicted by the plague. There is something or somebody in the city who is using their power, their resources to garner either their control of the city, their power, or some sick desire to see people dance like puppets to get something that they're promised. And Gaius thinks that instead of punishing the person that the eyes are protecting, they go after the people who put the knife in the hand to end them once and for all, to stop it. Because if we just punish this guy, who's to say they just don't put the knife in the next guy's hands? It doesn't really stop anything.
That's true. Yeah. Middleman, as it were.
It's like, oh, okay, I killed the middleman. I killed the low rate mobster. Another guy's just going to take their place. You got to cut the head off. You got to cut the head off and burn the body.
Yeah. That's very rational. Yeah, it's like, the circumstance is unfortunate, but it's like, when you think about it, of how it all fell into play, it's like, there's you got to go higher up.
And like his justification for that feeling is, I've written murder mysteries before. I know how this plays out.
I'm a professional murder mystery writer to know this stuff. Hey, it helps. I mean, that's how the show Castle was born, so,
That's true. Yeah.
You're Castle. Which is perfect. I love it. But yeah, that is our time. That was fantastic. There was a handful of questions lined up, because again, we were on hiatus for about a year and a half, so maybe 2 years, I can't remember, but it's been a hot minute. So I am ready to start asking the questions for everyone once we start getting down the line. So of course, we don't know who we're going to interview next. Again, we're going to keep with the theme of either me or Fox. We'll probably do Fox next, to be completely honest. But as far as the subject, we don't know yet. We got a month to decide. So
Sonata.
Sonata.
I've been working on it a lot lately.
That's just what it's going to be, is me and Zoro blitzing Fox with Sonata questions.
There we go.
I might actually be able to answer them this time.
Hey, that's true. It's been a while since we last asked them, so we could. But yeah, thank you everyone for showing up to our once a month show. This is not the only show we do have on this channel. On Monday we have our longest running show, which we corrected ourselves is actually 10 years of Destiny Forged. Our longest running campaign in its 4th campaign right now, run by Rhojin. Every other Tuesday we have our Star Wars 5e Tales of the Outer Rim, run by Tiltbot. Then we have our 2 alternating Thursday shows. We have Mass Effect, Horizons, run by me, and then we have our brand new alternating show. Actually, episode 2 is coming up this upcoming Thursday, called A New Era, where we are back in Talendra, our campaign 2 of Destiny Forged Continent. So I'm excited to get back into it. Run by Rhojin. And then, of course, we have our alternating shows on Saturday. We have The Downfall of Propriety, which is a Bridgerton inspired style 5e game run by Malls. And then alternating Saturdays, we have our Withered Waste Southern Frontier game run by Rhojin. Our evening games right now are currently on hiatus. And they are both, but when we do run them, we do have our Vigilance 6, which is our superhero game, which is a homebrew system run by Rhojin. And then alternating is our Daggerheart game, also run by Rhojin. So just keep an eye out on when we'll bring those back. But we do have plenty of shows to watch in the meantime. If you miss anything, we do have our YouTube channel. Otherwise, you can always join our Discord to see what is going on with events, as well as see when we announce the next subject and whatnot for the Behold Lore show and anything else in between. So until then, we will see you guys next time. You have a wonderful evening. I'm going to do the right closeout now. I'm going to do the right one. This one's for real now.
Starting soon screen.